Now, supporters of the Turkish opposition have defied a ban of protests. It was issued after the arrest of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's main political rival, the popular mayor of Istanbul, Ekrem Imamoglu. Well, the protest ban issued by the governor of Istanbul came amid reports of the clampdown on social media platforms. The detention has occurred just days before the opposition figure was due to be announced as the presidential candidate for the Republican People's Party. Well, Mr. Imamoglu posted the following statement just before his arrest.
Üzülerek söylüyorum, milletimizin
I say with regret that a handful of minds are trying to usurp the will of our nation by abusing the police. The security forces of this country have massed at the door of my home, homes of 16 million Istanbulites. Hundreds of police are massed. We are facing bullying, but I want you to know that I won't be undaunted. I love you all so much. I entrust myself to my people. Let all our nation know that I will stand upright.
Hepinizi çok seviyorum. Ben kendimi milletime emanet ediyorum.
I will continue to fight with that person and his mind, which uses this whole process like an apparatus.
Aparat gibi kullanan aklıyla mücadeleye devam edeceğim.
So that was Ekrem Imamoglu speaking, issuing that statement just before his arrest. And of course, now we are seeing protesters out on the streets. So we are monitoring the live shot of that as well. But we know that supporters of this Turkish opposition have been defying what was a ban of protests. They are out on the streets. So a lot of a fast-moving, developing situation when it comes to what is happening in Turkey. Let's cross over to Istanbul because Emily Wither joins us live now. In a moment, we will get the very latest from her, but just a little bit of background to this because Turkish prosecutors have spoken since that statement by Ekrem Imamoglu. They have said that Mr. Imamoglu has been charged with being head of a criminal organisation and also of bribery and extortion. They say that there are also local reports that he's accused of aiding the banned Kurdish Workers' Party, an organisation that is banned in Turkey. And they say that over 100 others have been detained as part of the same probe. Mr. Imamoglu's party, the CHP, have said that his detention marks a coup attempt against our next president. We know that there is an election coming up and that Recep Tayyip Erdogan, after his many years in power, will not be able to stand for re-election. So a fluid situation in Turkey. We can cross over live, as promised, to our correspondent there, Emily Wither, who joins us from Istanbul. Emily, I think it's important, just remind us what is happening on the ground, because despite a ban, people are out on the streets.
That's right. We are seeing some small protests now in Istanbul outside the office and at a university here. Those university protests have already been broken up by the police. I should say that the protests now are very small. The authorities are doing everything they can to make sure that people do not gather on the streets here. They've closed many major roads into the city. They have closed down popular metro stops. They have restricted the use of social media for some popular apps. And they have also banned any rallies or protests here for the next 4 days. Whether we see larger numbers coming out onto the streets despite all of those risks, we'll just have to see. In the past, we have seen people gathering on their balconies or gathering at their windows and banging pots and pans in protest. We might see that later on this evening. But at the moment, this is a city braced now to see whether these protests get any larger.
And Emily, just remind us why Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the president of Turkey, why he feels so threatened by the mayor of Istanbul.
The mayor of Istanbul is incredibly charismatic and he's incredibly popular. In many polls, it shows that Erdogan is pretty much neck and neck with Ekrem Imamoglu. He was due to have a big rally today in support for his presidential candidacy, which is due to be announced in the coming days. The opposition were going to name him as their future presidential candidate. And I should say that critics here are saying that this crackdown could backfire on Erdogan, because in 2019, when Ekrem Imamoglu won the mayor elections here, Erdogan's government said that those elections were rigged and they called for a rerun. In that rerun, Imamoglu came out even more popular, so it could be that this crackdown sees the mayor gaining even more votes. He's very popular across the political divide and he is seen as a key challenger to Tayyip Erdogan. And this has been going on for months now. The government here has been cracking down on opposition figures for some time. They have been arresting opposition mayors, journalists and business leaders. And I think what's interesting is there has been very little international condemnation of that. So it could be that President Erdogan is also gambling that the arrest of this mayor will also go by unnoticed, given Turkey's strategic importance at the moment.
Emily, thank you very much for bringing us up to date there with the latest, a fluid situation on the ground in Istanbul. But we appreciate you just talking us through that. Emily Wither there joining us live from Istanbul. And we're keeping an eye on that live shot because, of course, people are out on the streets despite a ban following the arrest of the mayor of Istanbul.